ABB emphasized that this new facility was a net zero building. And I wanted to understand what they meant by that. Because typically companies, when they talk about net zero, they're doing business as usual and then buying carbon credits. I wanted to understand what net zero meant to ABB. So I was asking Joel about this, and he explained to me more of that ethos, that it really is not just buying carbon credits, but it is looking at the entire process, looking at every step of their manufacturing, of the building process, going as detailed as even the furniture in this new building. So this furniture we're sitting on, it's in the reception area for this new facility, and he was explaining that it's all repurposed, either from their facility or from other buildings that were going to be throwing it out. So for them, net zero is not just buying carbon credits, but it is physically reducing their carbon footprint and their emissions footprint, so that way they can help their clients reduce theirs as well. I got a tour of the ABB HVAC mechanical room for their facility while I was up there. Here, Tim is pointing out the absorption chillers that they utilize for bringing in the geothermal fluids and then modifying what the temperature of the produced heat or cold is. So those chillers actually, they take in the geothermal water, and then that water is turned into what temperature they need for the building. Part of this whole HVAC system, and the part I'm really excited about, is the geothermal fluids, which are these green pipes. Now there's several different pipes, I'll talk about the other ones later, but the green pipes here, these are the intake flow coming from the geothermal well field that's out back from the building. One thing you'll notice is that there's two of them. These two pipes here, they're all flowing from the same heat pump field, but this is built-in redundancy. So for facilities that need 100% uptime, you'll want this redundancy built in. Here we are looking at the flow, or the motors, the drives that are bringing the fluids into the building. There's also the controls, or the electrical switches, that are needed to turn the electrical drives on and off. Here Tim is talking about this wall of different ABB controls. Why are there so many controls? Well, it's really, this is more of a show and tell piece. They have all these different controls. They all kind of do the same thing, and of course Tim would do a much better explanation, but he's pointing out that, again, redundancy, not just in the electrical motors, but also the electrical controls. For 100% uptime, you need those. His favorite is this big box that we're looking at. You'll notice that that box has two different little panels on it. Those panels are because this box has multiple controls in it, so it has built-in redundancy for one of those areas that you need that redundancy for. That's one of his favorites. Now we go from the geothermal into inlet and outlet fluids, the green pipes, and we start walking over to this big beige box that has orange pipes and blue pipes. Basically what this box is this is where outside air is mixing with the inside air, and it's mixing with the fluids, either hot fluid to warm up the building or cold fluid to cool down the building. And so he's explaining how all of that works. You've got this big, essentially, heat exchanger that is changing the temperature of the air in the building to then control the climate inside. Wrapping up this whole thing, it was really exciting to see it, and it's important to point out and remind you, it said at the beginning, but this is a nice, clean, pretty room, very colorful, bright, obvious pipes. very well labeled, the way any mechanical room should be. But this is usually not how mechanical rooms are. It really does feel like a show and tell room, highlighting all of the pieces and components that are necessary for this type of HVAC system. But it's also important to point out that this is doing the heating and cooling for the entire office facility. So it's not just show and tell, it is actually a mechanical room being used. And that's what's so cool and what's so exciting. So this large facility that ABB has, we've been talking about all these different net zero initiatives and ways that they're making the facility net zero. But one piece that Joel pointed out is that it's not just about the facility being net zero, it's about having a good work-life balance and this greater HSE picture for their employees, even as detailed as this trail, having the wildflowers, having a place that employees can go out during their lunch break, during meetings, to get outside and just, be able to see what they're working for, seeing why they care about sustainability, why they care about net zero, and why they're proud to work at ABB.